All right, next up is shocks. We are going to begin. They are already assembled in the inside right here, it seems. They've already done, really assembly step one has already been done by them, so that's really cool. Only thing we got to do is assemble the shock shaft, putting all these little odds and ends on the bottom, and then putting it through here, filling it with fluid, and we'll be good. First off, you're going to take your shock shaft. What you're going to do first is take one of these little C-clips right here, or E-clip as they call it, and you're going to want to put one of these onto the bottom. Go ahead and line your E-clip up and be very gentle. I'm using these pliers to go ahead and push this thing down, just like that. And that guy is on there. Now you're going to take one of your washers. It's going to be this little black piece right here, and it appears that it is going to go with the lip side facing down, just like that. And then you're going to put another E-clip on the top. And you're done with that part. Now, I don't have any of the green slime for the O-rings, so I'm just going to use some silicone oil and put on the shaft before I put it in there, just to help it a little bit. Just go ahead and lube that up really nicely. Then you go ahead and take the shock shaft, line it up with the hole at the bottom, and you can put it down in there, just like that. And there you go on that one. You are good there. Now, next step is going to take your bottom piece. And now for the bottom of the shock, what you're going to do is take this metal piece and you're going to push it through. That guy's going to pop in just like that. And you know you're good there. And you're going to go ahead and thread this on the bottom. Now once you have this piece threaded on all the way up, then you're going to proceed to put one of these shock collars on this. You can thread it to whatever liking you want. For right now, we're just going to leave it all the way at the top. Now for this part, you're going to want a stand. This is just a stand off Amazon, but it's really good for what you need to do. And that way you're able to set your shock in here and you can go ahead and do everything you need to do while you bleed it out. First off, what we're going to do here is take this and go halfway up with your shock. So you have like all the way in, all the way out. You're going to go about halfway. Set that guy in here. They give you oil supplied in the thing. Once we've cut the end off of that, we are ensured that our shock is halfway up. Now we're going to go ahead and fill this just like that, and you're going to want it 5 to 8 millimeters of height at the top according to the instructions. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that bad boy sit while I go ahead and get the others done. A stand like this would be really good to have. This one came off Amazon, is like $14 or something like that. Really good to have one of these. Proline makes some, J Concepts, all the main name brands out there, and it's just good to have this so you can put the shock up here and it can sit and the air can come out of it. Now once you have your shock and it's been sitting for a while and everything seems to be good, you're going to need to go up and down with it to ensure that you get all of the air out. See, as soon as you pull this thing down, it's going to pull all of the air out from the bottom. You're going to let those bubbles rise. You're just going to keep doing that over and over until you get all the bubbles out. And once you've pulled it down, I just like to top off, put a little more shock oil in there. Just fill it up a little bit more. Then once you have that done, now you're ready to proceed with your cap. For the cap, I would like to put some grease on there just to make sure it gets a good seal and nothing bad happens to it. So just go ahead and do that real quick. Put that on there. Grab your shock again. What you're going to want to do, have your shock shaft all the way down. Go ahead and thread this guy on here. Just like that till it's really snug. I have one of our tiny 1.5 mil screws. Put one of these tiny white washers on here. Just like that. Now you can see it. A rag, shop towel, any microfiber, anything will work. And you're going to go ahead and push this all the way up. Just like that. Just where you got a little bit of shock sticking out. And then you're going to proceed to screw this into the top of the shock cap. You're just going to screw that in until it's nice and snug. Then once you have that, your shock is ready to go. Next step, we're going to take one of these metal inserts, go ahead and put this into the top. It might be a little hard, so go take your pliers if you have some and just help you to pop that in, just like that. Now you're going to take your spring, put it on there, and you're going to take the bottom, you're going to pull this down, take this bottom, put on there like that, and go ahead and push that down, just like that. And now you're going to take one of the bigger supplied screws and you're going to screw it through the bottom just like this. And once you get to the end right here, make sure it's snug, doesn't have to be really tight. All the stuff just really lightly snug and you'll be perfectly fine with it. Once you have that, you have a shock. It is complete. It should feel good. Have no weird binds up or anything, and everything should just be there and ready to install on the truck. Once you got that one done, go ahead and knock the rest out. Now once you finish your shocks, they should all look like this. You're going to have all the pieces put together, everything tight. You're going to have these little ends down here installed. The one in the bottom is the longer one in the top is the skinnier one. You're going to have your bleeder screw in the top. You're going to have this lockdown screw into the bottom. And you're going to have your spring on however you want and adjust it to whatever height you want. I'm just starting with the top for right now. And I'll adjust them as I go and figure out what fine tune works for me. Next bag, we are starting with bag F. This will be page 17 in your manual. Next up, we have bag F1. Alright, so for our first step, what we're going to need is one of these smaller guys. Going to need one of these screws. Need one of these pins. Going to need one of the long silver hardened pins. We're also going to need one of these, and we are going to need this plastic piece, as well as thread locker for the screw. This guy right here, what it wants us to do is take this and place it into the inside of here, just like that. Once we do that, now we're going to begin to take our 2 mil, put on the end of here, and while we're doing that, we're going to take Loctite, put on the end of here. Go ahead and put this all the way through here, and we'll begin to thread it in the end of this piece just like that, like this, and right there is perfectly tight. Now that you have that done right here, the next step it wants us to do is go ahead and put this guy through the center of here, hole facing up like that. Now once you have this guy in the center right here, you're going to want that hole facing straight up on this line, just like you can see right there. Once you have that facing just like that, you're going to take this piece and put it right over the top, just like that. It's going to be kind of hard to keep this lined up, but you can do it. Just take some patience. You're going to take this pin and put it perfectly through everything, just like that. And just come out the other side. Nothing should be able to turn. Should be free, just like that. And to keep that guy in here, you're going to take this piece. Make sure you have the threaded end pointing up. So you're going to take this bigger end right here and put it to the threaded end so you can get a screw in it. Now once this is done and you have this piece fully assembled, you're going to grab your set screw and one of your washers that was left over from a previous step. And what you're going to do first off is take this washer and you're going to slide over this all the way to that bearing, perfectly just like that. Then you're going to take this guy and make sure you line that hole up exactly. Now just for me and my peace of mind, what I'm going to do is take some of my blue Loctite and put on the end of this guy just so he doesn't come off. And once you're sure everything's still lined up, you go ahead and put this guy through the center of everything, just like that, and you can begin to thread him in snug, and you are done with this part. Now you have your little front yoke attached to your front axle, and everything is good there. Now step 2 on page 17 for bag F is going to be assembling the drive shaft for the rear axle. So what you're going to do for this one, you're going to grab your rear axle, go ahead and set that to the side, and you're going to grab your 35mm shaft right here. Be just a little bit taller than the one you just put in, about 5 mil taller. Put them to the side. You need another one of these screws, another one of these guys, another one of these, and another one of these, followed by your pin. Then you're going to need a set screw and another one of these little shims for when you go to assemble this to the axle. Now, as far as putting everything together, this is exactly the same as the first step, so I'm just going to run through this real quick, go ahead and get it on here, and get to the next step. Now, once you have both your axles assembled, everything should look just like this. All of this should work together. You should be able to move this around 360, left and right, up and down. You should be able to spin your axle fully. Same with this guy right here. You should be able to spin everything, move this 360, and everything should be good there. We're going to move on to the next step, which would be the next part of bag F, assembling these guys to the transmission. For our next part, you're going to grab another one of these smaller guys. Go ahead and put everything together again, just like you've been doing. You're going to need all of these pieces again. Kind of one of everything deal, but there's going to be one slight change on this one. Okay, so everything will be the same here, essentially. There's just going to be one slight change. For the collar that's going to slide over this guy, it's going to be a tad bit different. So this one's going to have some grooves cut in the side, just like this. That's going to be the only difference between this one and this one, but everything else is essentially the same. All right, now once you have this guy assembled, you're going to have this piece put on with the flat side pointing towards the long of the axle, and then this little slotted part pointing towards the outside. Set that to the side. Now you do your next one. This one's going to be the other 35mm. All right, now once you have these two assembled, it should look just like this. That piece put on there, the slotted piece pointing towards the outside, and everything should be aligned properly. Should be good to move on to your next step. Now, grabbing the chassis, I put it towards you so you can kind of see the way it is in the manual. It's laid out just like this, the back and the front. I'm probably going to have some trouble right here with my wires, I'm just now noticing, so I'm probably going to have to fix that. So we'll begin with the back. So essentially what you're going to do here is just grab this guy, line up that hole so you can put the set screw through there. You're going to slide this over the top just like that again, making sure your hole lines up. Grab one of your set screws. The blue Loctite I'm doing is optional, but I would recommend it just so you don't have anything coming loose on you. Once you have that right there, go ahead and line this guy up, and you'll go ahead and thread that through just like you did for the front axle. You're going to do this again to the front, just like I did to the back. Just to back show you guys, I'm going to have to move my motor real quick and rotate it, because I'm not going to be able to get this drive shaft slid on here without messing my wires up. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, we got everything moved around. Put my wires over here to this side. Got all that nice and neat. Everything is in. Everything, like I was saying, spins as it should. All this stuff is all good. You have these in whatever position you wanted, and this is kind of your final product that you have right now up to this point. Now, next up, we have bag G. This has all of our end links in it. This is going to be for page 19 and 20. Continued putting them on to the truck as well. All right, now first up out of the bag here, these things are hefty. They are heavy, they are very good quality, all stainless steel, and they are just awesome. They feel very heavy. They're gonna add some weight. They're definitely gonna add some weight down low to the bottom of the truck. All the hardware is here organized, looks phenomenal as well. All of your little ball cups and end links are here. This is just gonna be great. I'm very excited for this. The closer we get to finishing this build, it's just making me so happy. I'm so happy to get out there and drive it. I can't wait. Let's go ahead and hurry up and finish this thing. I'm so ready to drive it and hopefully get it to RC land this week. All right, so first things first, what we're gonna do is start with just the first link right here. What you're gonna do is grab one of these guys and one of these. You're gonna pop this in here. You're probably gonna need some assistance. Just be careful using the pliers not to damage the plastic, but once that's in there, just like this, moving around freely, not gonna come back out. You're gonna make 2 of these for each of these. And just like that, once you have these 2 in there, then you're gonna go ahead and grab this, and you're gonna go ahead and thread this onto here. Make sure you don't cross thread it. And just like that, you're gonna go ahead and start threading all of these together, and we're going to get through this. So this is what it's going to look like once it's completed. This is how the manual shows this one right here, pointing to you guys, and these pointing straight up and down where the 90s are, the 45s. So that's how I'm going to leave it. You might have to go and adjust these later on. These won't matter at all, but this one's going to matter, and you might have to go adjust those. Okay, I got all my end links done. Got all the rods sitting right here. Got one in the vise right now. I'm going to go ahead and thread all these on here and then move into the next step. Okay, now once you go through the lengthy process of putting all the end links on these, this is what your end results are going to be like. Everything should be nice and tight all the way at the end. All of these should be able to move free back and forth just like this. And you're ready to go and assemble them on the truck. Okay, now with the truck upside down, what you're going to do is take one of these, the second longest kind of bar that goes in the center. You're going to slide it through this top hole right here. You're going to take one of these M3 by 20s. And once you get that lined up, you're going to take this M3 by 20 and run it all the way up. Just like that, just make sure it's snug. Once you get that through, you're going to want to take this pan hard link and go ahead and assemble it. M3 by 16, put through the front right here, then take you an M3 nut, put through this side, just like that. And once you get that, you're just going to take a little 5.5 nut driver, hold that guy on there, and take a 2mm and go ahead and tighten this. It's a little difficult, but it's nothing you can't do. If you want to take that mount off, you're welcome to do that as well. Whatever works best for you to get this tightened successfully without stripping the screw. Just like that, once you have that guy done, now we're ready to put the axle on. For our next page, it wants us to install our front axle. So first thing we're going to do with this is install our tie rod and our drag link. So what you're going to do here is you're going to take this guy, put him right through this hole. And for that, we're going to be using an M3 by 16. Should be the only one of those you have. We're going to take our 2.5, run this up. Take this M3 by 25, and you're going to put it through here as well. And we're going to have this drag link sitting on top of this. Now you're going to take this M25 they gave you. It should also be the only one of these. Has a little shoulder at the top. And what we're going to do here is put this guy right through just like we did the other side. But for our little drag link, we're going to put this through the top. Perfect. Now your front steering is assembled and all should look just like this and function just as that. Once you have all this put together on the front axle, you're going to take two of the M3 by 20s we have right here with the round head on them, and it wants us to go ahead and put our front shocks on. And the way you're going to begin to put these shocks on is it wants this thicker part right here pointing towards the outside of the truck to where the wheel would go. So you're going to put this in just like that. Take one of these M3 by 20s, put it through there, and go ahead and tighten this up. And for this other side, put that part towards the outside, pops right in there, and then you slide this M3 by 20 through, and you go ahead and tighten it down. Your front axle is 99% complete. We're going to go ahead and connect this to the chassis of our truck. Now, something to note before you put the axle on, what it wants us to do is take this 40mm rod. You should hold it up to your paper, and it's the exact same length. You're going to put it through here. That way, when you go to bring this guy up, just like this will go in there perfectly. Just like that. And go ahead and begin by connecting your lower links. It's going to be M3 by 20 as well. Same with that one, M3 by 20. Go ahead and run those up. Now flipping over and moving to the top, connect our top front axle. By doing that, what we're going to do is push that bad boy in. Go ahead and take our other M3 by 16, slide him through, and go ahead and tighten it up. Once you get that ran in, your front upper is now connected. You can proceed to connect your shocks. Those are going to be M3 by 20s as well. For that, all you're going to do is make sure this little bleeder screw is pointing out. You don't have to, it's just the way I'm doing it. You can M3 by 20 from the back side, slide it in, and repeat the same process for that on the other side. Now, for this bar on the front right here, you're going to use an M3 by 12. It's going to be one of the smaller screws that they give you. You're going to line it up right with this knuckle on the passenger side of the truck. And you're going to begin to just thread that in all the way. Once that's threaded in just like that, you know how your axle is going to sit. Okay, I want to apologize. My phone completely died. I didn't even realize it when I started doing this video. The thing was on 50%, and then I went over there to cut the video off and it was dead. But for this back part of the truck on the axle back here, I just want to kind of walk through you guys what you were going to do. First things first, you are going to take these two skinnier rods. They're going to go on the inside. You're going to begin by connecting those here with two M3 by 20s. Then once you get those connected, just let the ends sit down here. Then you're going to connect these other two solid rods that are a lot thicker, and you're going to connect those with two M3x20s. These guys are a little hard to get lined up. It's really tight tolerance. These two are not hard at all. Then once you get those connected, you're going to go ahead and bring your axle over. It wants you to connect your shocks to your axle before putting it on the truck. These little spacers are going to come to the outside where the wheel will connect to the truck. Then for your drive shaft insert, it is a 50mm insert. You can hold it up to your instruction manual and it will be the exact size as the picture in the book. Once you have all that done, you can go ahead and connect these two guys right here in the center. You are going to use your M3x35 screw with an M3 nut on the other side. Now there are two holes here, two positions you could put this in. There is a lower and an upper. I chose to do the upper, not really for any reason. It's just the hole I went in. Maybe it'll give you a little bit more clearance, a couple millimeters of travel, however you want to see that. Once you connect those two together, they were a little tricky to get lined up. Then you can proceed to connect these two right here. These are going to be your M3x16s for this. Then once you have those connected, you can flip the truck over. And the last thing to do will be connect your shocks. You want the screws to come in from the back side and use two M3x20s with your bleeder screws pointing out. Once you have all those connected, your truck is about 95% done chassis wise. You have everything right here. You could connect wheels to it right now and roll it around if you'd like to. Everything should spin as far as axle and all that stuff goes. Just grab it in the center. Yeah, so really cool to see this chassis start coming together. Thing looks awesome with the center part in here. Not quite sure where the speed controller is going to go yet. I have a little idea up my sleeve I'm going to try to work with on that. We'll see if I can make it happen. Other than that, truck looks fantastic. This chassis is coming around very nicely. I'm very happy to see this, and I just can't wait to go ahead and get this thing finished and start getting it on the trails. That's going to do it for this one, guys. We are almost done. Truck is looking fantastic. I'm so excited. This thing is shaping up really nice. Very good quality by Vanquish. Everything's going together nice. Fit and finish is phenomenal. Very on point. I can't wait to finish this truck. Got some cool ideas for it. Got some products in the works right now for it. Everything's going really cool. Can't wait to see what you guys are saying about it in the comments. Thank you guys for watching the videos. Thank you guys for all your support. I really appreciate the feedback. It's awesome and it means the world to me. And I just really want to say thank you. Guys, if you liked the video, leave me a like. If you didn't like, leave me a dislike. Remember to subscribe. It helps me out a ton and it really means the world to me. Thank you guys for everything. Hope you have an awesome night.